Calxiyn here. If you guys enjoyed this video, remember that you guys should be patrons over on Patreon so you guys can get early access, join our Discord server, or request a video, because this is a request. Today we are going to be talking about what if the gods aren't actually gods. This is sort of going to be a two-part thing, so Aaron wants us to read his idea, but I have my own personal ideas, so this is going to be a two-part video. Because usually...
What a lovely hot dog, Hunter. Or what if the hot dog wasn't a hot dog?
Because usually we just talk about, right, like, somebody else's theory and then sort of give our thoughts on it, but this is going to be a little different today, so...
Like, what if the theory, right, wasn't a theory?
What if the two brothers were not ever really gods? What if they were just very gifted people, some of the first? What if the one brother did use magic to create the Grimm? What if they were just extremely magically gifted brothers who fought a lot but never gods? Then Salem came, and then she somehow became this Grimm human hybrid, but one person stood against her, Ozpin, but Ozpin failed. He was defeated, but the two brothers saved him, giving him magical powers, so including the reincarnation ability. Ozpin thought that they were gods, but they were just people. He called it a curse, but they were just trying to help, so now all these years later, all we have are these myths and fairy tales, and only Ozpin to confirm the truth. But who is to say Ozpin isn't wrong? Like, seriously, Ozpin can't be right about everything. So that's sort of like, I think that this is an interesting discussion, though. What constitutes as a god? Like, if they just had magic, fine, but like, people, okay. So here's where my idea comes in, right? Alright. You guys know about, like, the ancient alien theory, I'm sure, okay? That, like, aliens, like, came down here, and they, like, were, like, you know, the Greek gods and all the Roman gods and the Norse gods, they were all aliens, and people just saw that they had magic and assumed that they were gods. Or not magic, but they had, they assumed it was magic, but it was science, right? You understand? So...
Silly goose.
You know what I mean? So what constitutes as a god in the context of RWBY? Because if it's just someone with magical powers, Ozpin has magic. So obviously for Ozpin, like, usually a signal that someone is a god is immortality. Or that they can't die.
Maybe well, that is what immortality means.
No, but there's two different things, right? It's either you can't die and you don't age, or you just don't die. Those are two different things.
To destroy you.
Yeah, exactly.
Remove the head and destroy the brain.
No. But I'm saying, like, there's not aging and then being alive forever, but then there's aging and just growing really old. Or there's just not having an age.
So you just grow forever?
So,
like, until you eventually just straight up look like a walnut?
So, here's my thing, right?
Yes. What's your thing?
I really would appreciate if the gods were aliens.
Oh, yeah.
And the RWBY expanded universe. After RWBY, the next Rooster Teeth series is about space. Like, like, outside of Remnant, like, there's a whole solar system, and the gods were just aliens, and we talked about this before, that the Grimm were, like, part of, like, an ancient society. No. That the Grimm were a part of an ancient society that used it as population control, alright? And, like, after that society failed, like Atlantis or something, like, you know, after the society died, or El Dorado, right? The society disappeared, but the Grimm stayed. And so the brothers were not, like, gods. They just, I mean, they did something freaky, right? But, like, it was an ancient, like, society, and they made the Grimm on purpose to control the population and, like, do sacrifice and, like, decide who was worthy of being alive or whatever. And I don't know how you're dying against the bots, because I've been playing this game and I haven't died once. Anyways, so here's my thing. I would love if they did that, and then RWBY, like, the RWBY somehow, like, you know, like, outside of Remnant, there was just space, okay? You know? And the gods were aliens, and
they came, what, so
I
that
told
means
you,
there's another...
so there was a society before humanity that they helped build, right? And it was like an El Dorado or an Atlantis, and they made the Grimm as some sort of weird scientific population control, and then it just got out of hand, and so they wanted Ozpin to fix it, but nobody remembers this ancient society anymore, and so they weren't like, gods. Because the idea of having a god is very much like, we all know, like, we all know what a god is, right? But there's a difference between, like...
You're the one who's, like, the theology major or something?
You know what I mean? Like... I understand what Aaron's saying, but, like, there are some qualifications I think that they need for godhood. Qualifications that we don't know if they have yet. because we don't know if they're immortal beings that are just chilling around. Like, we don't know what they are, really. And so they could be not gods. They could be aliens. They could be people with magic. They don't even have to be necessarily human. But I think gods need to be immortal to be gods.
I think that is how it works.
You know what I mean? Because, oh my god, there's some philosophy thing that a god needs to be omnipresent, omnipotent, and omnibenevolent.
So just a real
all
nice
good,
guy.
all-knowing,
all,
and all-powerful.
yes.
So if the gods aren't all-powerful, they're not gods. If the gods aren't all-knowing, they're not gods. We can argue about the benevolence thing. That's just for the argument of a Christian god. We can get rid of that benevolence thing for this particular scenario.
They can be
but all-knowing and all-powerful, right? And then even, like, Greek gods sometimes, like, you know, some stuff is out of their jurisdiction, but they still have, like, they still have most of their shit going on, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's what I think. I think that that's what they should do if they're not actually gods. They should have them so they're aliens. Okay? Thank you, Eric.
But they brought this up specifically. They were like, dust doesn't work in outer space. So do you think that maybe the creation of dust...
That's what I'm saying.
Before
because what if the gods are aliens and the dust didn't work in space because they didn't want remnant people to find them in outer space?
Sure.
Do you understand?
Okay, that would make sense.
That the dust doesn't work in orbit because they didn't want the people of Remnant going out and seeing all of the other planets that they fucked up along the way over here. Also, would it then,
like, how's the mechanics? Like, it would only work next to a strong center of gravity.
Yeah, exactly. And the farther away you get from the Earth, the more the dust is like, hey, we can't do that, and then it dies.
What about, like, I don't know.
So I think Aaron meant more on the side of, like, that they were just, like, warlocks or something, like, not aliens, but I like aliens better.
I preferred when you mentioned how there was, like, the ancient civilization that was more...
advanced and stuff. Yeah, but that would be with help from the aliens, because that's what everybody thinks that the Atlantis is, guys.
Yeah.
I hope that my...
That is, like, my favorite...
My dad watches some of my videos, so I hope he's like, I taught her well.
I taught her
Like, we watched Ancient Aliens together, and this is the result! Thanks, Dad. Anyway.
That's my favorite thing in, like, like, I love Mad Max, because it's always like, and we go to the temple, and, like, the temple's a McDonald's, or, like, a power converter or something benign, but it's like, oh, it's like, because they're in a post-apocalypse, so, like, the pre-apocalypse modern society is, like, this super advanced, or, like, it's Tales of the Abyss does a similar thing. I think
with Aaron, it was just, he kind of meant, like, like if they were just magical people, and then because they disappeared because they died, and Ozpin just hasn't, like, made any connection.
The last of the Mohicans, basically.
And, like, I don't know. I like my idea. Basically, I just used Aaron as an excuse to be able to talk about my aliens.
Okay.
Because I wanted to talk about it for a while, and so when he was like, hey, Cal, can you do a video on this? I was like... Yes. Done deal. You know what I mean? So anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, but I should probably go back to Aaron's theory before we're done, because I feel kind of bad.
You feel bad for him dropping it? It was like...
Here's my other thing, right? He's saying that, like, then Salem became the Grim human hybrid, right? What if that was also the aliens doing some weird experiment on her, and they just left her here?
What if it was,
I'm trying to connect our theories, because I know, like, I was like, oh, I should end the video, but then I'm like, wait, he paid for us to talk about his idea, maybe we can keep...
Your idea's stupid. This is what you should think.
Yeah. So what if the gods, like, made her that way? And, like, did some freaky experiment on her? I like the idea of maybe she was like Mewtwo, where it's just like, we were just fucking around, and then it turns out we created our own destruction. Exactly. And that's why the gods left. That's why they were like, hey, Ozpin, can you clean this up? We'll come back in a couple 100 years, you know what I mean? And you can't find us, because we can't space travel.
You can't.
And yeah, I think the point is, like, Ozpin is probably wrong about things. Right? Like, he's the only one that knows what's going on. He could have easily misinterpreted history, because that's the thing with the alien theory. It's that ancient people were kind of dumb and looked at science and was like, that's magic. You know what I mean? And so I feel like that could translate really well into RWBY. That is sort of all that I'm saying. And plus, for Aaron's idea of like Salem being part Grimm or what, like the Grimm hybrid thingy, like that could easily have been some alien magic right there. You know what I'm saying?
Alien magic.
Some alien
I would
magic.
love just to go back in time with, like, imagine going to the Civil War with an assault rifle and just being like, you could fuck shit up, man.
Anyway.
It'd be fun. Or just, like, bring penicillin. Even, like, a Tamagotchi, they'd be losing their goddamn mind. I would, like, go back in time with a case...
This is kind of weird, but when I was a kid... So, Hunter and I went to Catholic school, right?
Yeah. Oh,
when I was a kid, I... Like, when I prayed at night, I was like, Jesus, like... Don't worry. When we can go back in time, I'm going to show the Romans my cell phone, and then they won't kill you, because they'll think that I'm magic because of my phone.
That's how they thought it would work out? I had more candid
That's what I figured, like, was a good idea. Like, I didn't understand, like, the, you know, Jesus died for our sins thing. Like, I was very determined to go rescue him.
You really wanted to, like, go back in time and, like, Marty McFly this shit?
Yeah, and
like,
so,
save the day?
Yeah. So, that's kind of what, when you're, like, when we're talking about Ozpin, that's kind of what I was thinking. And, like, how you were, like, bringing back, like, no, I was just, like, I would bring my cell phone, and they would listen to me, because then I would be magic.
I would just go back with, like, a TV, like, a battery, and maybe, like, a copy of Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh my God.
And just be like, you can't wait. Like, see, don't worry, man. It sucks now, but look at the singing and dancing.
I think we're good for this video. We will see you guys later. Sorry for all the blasphemy in this video. Bye.